Welcome to the Genius Talk podcast. I'm your host, Atul Raj from the bestemailmarketer.com. And today we have Peter Boolkah with us. Peter, thank you so much for joining and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Atul.
Okay, so for our listeners who don't know you, can you tell them who you are and what do you do?
So my name is Peter Boolkah. Primarily, I'm a business coach, and I have been doing that for over 20 years now.
Okay, so what inspired you to become a business coach?
That's a really interesting question. Do you know what? The honest answer?
Yes.
I fell into it by mistake. It was by an accident. It wasn't planned. I didn't wake up one day and think, yes, I want to be a business coach. The reality was, I left my corporate career, went into business for myself with a partner. We had an Italian restaurant. I kind of realized that perhaps that relationship wasn't quite what I would want it to be. And actually the romance of owning a restaurant and actually operating a restaurant are two different things. And it wasn't something that I enjoyed. So I left. I was looking for my next corporate career. And then I got approached by back then a franchise called Action Coach. And they introduced me to coaching. And really, I wasn't going to do it. I really wasn't going to do it. And I was doing my due diligence. And eventually, my final due diligence meeting was with a guy called Ray Moore. And sometimes people come into your life for a reason. He was what I needed. So I kind of thought, okay, do you know what? I'm gonna invest in this, and I'm gonna join him on his journey in the business coaching firm. And that was 20 years ago. So it was the one person that I met that probably changed the trajectory of my life, which is not the answer you expected, really, was it?
No, actually, I'm waiting for you. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
There's not so much what I'd like to add. I just think sometimes things happen for a reason, and becoming a business coach happened for a reason. I may not fully understood it at the time, but it's amazing how sometimes the universe can conspire to try and help you without you realizing.
Okay, so what do you actually do for business owners day to day?
So the field that I operate in is I work with businesses that want to scale up, so high growth businesses. So traditionally what you'll find is business owners, they'll start their business, they'll work their business, and at some point they start having massive growing pains because they don't know what to do next. So I help businesses minimize their growing pains so that they can grow. In most cases, they can grow with as minimal friction as possible. So they scale their business responsibly.
Yeah. So, is there any specific kind of business that you would like to work with?
No, look, the rules of business are the same. If you look at the laws of business, no matter the sector, the industry, marketplace, country, rules of business are rules of business. Now, you may have some subtle nuances depending on the country, the culture. But generally, when growing a business in one country, like let's say you're growing a business on the Indian continent, it's no different to building it on the American continent, so to speak. There are a few subtle differences, but the rules of business are the rules of business.
So, by the way, many people call you transition guy. So, why is that?
Why is that? Because you transition from one level to the next. So the person I spoke to, Ray Moore, the guy that I joined, he wrote a really good book called The Levels. And if you think about it, businesses, they grow, they plateau, they grow, they plateau. And really, it's helping people transition from a growth plateau, growth period. And that's what I mean by transition. So you're always moving forward to the next level. Because the reality is, you probably heard the saying, if a tree isn't growing, it's dying. Well, the same could be said for business. When you've got worldwide inflation and all those other pressures, a business has to grow. As soon as a business stops growing, it's dying. So that's why, hence the transition. I want to help transition people that are growing, because chopping the dead branches off a company that is dying is painful and hard.
Yeah. Okay, so can you share any of your favorite client success story?
I don't think I've got one favorite because you know the saying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Every business owner has a different version or different reality of what they want out their business. I think what really makes me happy, the success is when you successfully help a client achieve their goal. So whether it's to grow their business and sell their business, so that they've got financial freedom, whether it's transitioning the business from one generation to the next, whether it's getting the business ready for an IPO. I think everybody has their own journey. And when they successfully achieve what they want, that's life changing. And they're my favorite stories. Look, and I've worked with people that have exited a business for 1 billion, right through to selling their business for under 1 million. It's whatever makes the person happy.
Okay, so with all the success you have, what personality trait would you attribute majority of your success to?
Yeah. So look, for me, it's not me that has the success. It's always going to be the client that has the success. And I think, look, when you look at a client, I look at clients like Olympic athletes. I think the ones that succeed are the ones with an Olympic mindset. Now, what I mean by that is they're prepared to do whatever it takes to achieve gold. Now, if people are willing to do whatever it takes to achieve gold, the sacrifice and everything that goes with it, they're the ones that will succeed. Because no business pathway is ever clear. It's never super simple. There's always obstacles. Just like you have an Olympic athlete on the way to the Olympics, they may get injuries and stuff like that. It's the ability to overcome obstacles and persevere. That's probably one of the strongest traits that will allow an entrepreneur to succeed.
And what are the like bad traits that are stopping them from succeeding?
Confusing a coach with a consultant. They hire a coach and then they want the coach to fix the problem for them. So the abdication, I mean, that's just like stupid. Why would you do that? It's like me going to a gym, having a personal trainer and saying to the personal trainer, can you lift my weights for me while I have a cup of tea and a biscuit? I mean, come on, please. So I think that's a bad trait, but also the inability to make decisions, the inability to work, to sort of learn. I think when you look at today's marketplace, I mean, we are operating in what I would call a batshit crazy market. I mean, you look at geopolitics, they're the craziest they've ever been. I mean, you've had huge economic headwinds over the last 5 years. The rules of doing business are constantly evolving. And I think as a business owner, you really do have to be a lifelong learner because you have to keep relearning and relearning and relearning as the landscape changes. And the landscape changes at such speed right now. There is no time to sit on your hands. You've got to have that ability to evolve at speed. And unfortunately, what you'll find, there's a lot of business owners that may have been in business for 40 years and are still operating on a very outdated operating system. And it's only a matter of time before they go bust because their inability to adapt will kill them.
And yeah, like you said, if they're not scaling, growing, then they are dying.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a slow, painful death. Sometimes they don't even realize they're dying until one day they drop dead. It's too late.
Okay, so what are the best books that you have ever read that has the most impact on your work?
Do you know what's the amount of people have asked me this question?
Yeah.
There is never a best book. And I'll tell you why. There is the right book, and there is the right book for the right moment. You could read the best leadership book at the wrong time. If you need marketing and you're reading leadership, no matter how good the leadership book is, you are dead. So I think really, for me, it's the best books at the right time. And that's the most important thing. It's like people talk about the law of attraction and they say, well, the first thing they do, well, let's go and read Think and Grow Rich. No, you don't do that. You don't do that. That's advanced level law of attraction. You start saying really basic, like The Secret, and you learn the basics. And then when you are at intermediate level and then you come to advanced level, then the law of attraction can be the best book you've read on that subject because you're ready for the learning inside the book. So I think it's making sure that whatever book you choose to read, the book must be relevant to where you are. Otherwise, it's not a great book because there's no point just reading a book and doing nothing with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not at school. It's about reading a book and thinking, okay, what have I learned from this? What am I going to take from this? And what am I going to put into the business? So it's about actually picking up new skills that you can execute, not picking up loads of knowledge that you do nothing with. And like I remember a senior leader in McDonald's that I once worked with, and this guy could come up with every single catchphrase out of all the books. He had all content, but no context. and therefore could never apply it, and therefore was one of the most ineffective leaders I've ever come across. Yes, let me read all these books and let me sound intelligent. Okay, you can sound as intelligent as you want, but can you execute on what you learn? In that instance, no. And I honestly do believe if you are going to learn, you must learn with purpose.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Actually, this made me think a lot.
It's different to when you are at school or university.
Yeah.
They teach you shit that you're never going to use. I mean, please tell me, when was the last time you used algebra to solve a workplace conflict? You're never going to use it.
Never.
In fact, most people don't use algebra.
Yeah, exactly.
They still teach it. What for?
To waste my time.
Yeah, let's teach it so that you learn something.
Yeah, something.
In business, you don't have that time. You've got to learn stuff that's going to help you progress your business. And it's a very different way of thinking.
Okay, so looking back when you started, what's one lesson you would tell yourself as a founder if you could restart today?
Yeah, that's another really difficult question, because I do think that the lessons we are presented with, they teach us a lot. What would be the biggest, look, what do I say to any single founder? From day one, surround yourself with the right people. Surround yourself with people that will build you up, not shoot you down. And I'll give you an example. Very often, being an entrepreneur is a very lonely place. Unfortunately, very, very lonely. And a lot of people do not understand what entrepreneurs go through. And I always put it to a group of friends in a pub. There is always that asshole friend that doesn't even own a business, but has an opinion. And that opinion is, well, that's not going to work. You shouldn't do that. That's not a good idea. If you're going to take advice from people that actually understand what they're talking about, that have been there, that have got practical experience, that have worn the badge. Never ever take advice from people that really don't know what the hell they're talking about, because everyone can have an opinion, but so many opinions are dangerous.
Yeah, Peter. Okay, so for our listeners who want to get some help from you, connect with you, where can they go?
They can just go to my website. If you type in, look, you can either go to my website at ChatGPT, you just type in www.boolkah.com. I think I've got close to 400 blogs I have written, covering every single topic you can imagine in business. And in fact, if you want to have some fun, if they just type best business coaches in the world, they'll see that I will come up on the first page of Google. So they can find me that way as well, just to show that I practice what I preach. But look, first place is, look, I've got YouTube, I've got TikTok, I've got Insta. I'm on all the social channels. So there are so many free resources you can get there that can start you on the journey of learning.
Okay, awesome, Peter. Thank you so much for spending some time with us and sharing your wisdom. It was really great chatting with you.
Thank you for having me so much, Atul.
This is Genius Talk Podcast, and I'm your host Atul Raj from the bestemailmarketer.com, of course. So, speaking of email marketing, if you got some questions, challenges, doubt, or just simply need some help with your email marketing, then reach out to me at atul@thebestemailmarketer.com, and I'll be happy to help.